Hello, everyone. Rundown episode, whatever this is. I'm going to be starting in just 1 second. Just going to make sure that the audio's coming in nice and clear. Just one moment. What's going on, David? How we doing today, man? Hello, everyone else in the chat. Hey, Ashley, what's going on? All right. Yeah, so we got some topics, obviously, for today's stream. I'm actually going to begin on the last aspect of our Brongus. What's going on, brother? How you doing today? I'm gonna kind of do things a little backward today, talking about the Heung-min Son situation at Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, he's announced that he's going to be leaving. I felt that would be a good place to sort of begin at this stage. Go back to the Alexander-Isak Newcastle Sesko whole situation, because obviously that's almost like one whole situation in and of itself. David said, saw you were streaming yesterday, I think, but I missed it. No worries, man. I streamed on, I want to say Thursday, put out a YouTube video yesterday, though. So when this stream's over, check out that YouTube video if you didn't see it already. Love the sign behind me. Thank you, Ashley. Of course you do. Obviously, just in the general world of football, before I get into the Liverpool-related topics, Heung-min Son has announced he's going to be leaving Tottenham Hotspur. Not too much of a shock. I think a lot of people saw this coming once it got reported from Fabrizio, a bunch of different people, that there was interest from LAFC for Son. I'm not 100% sure the age of Heung-min Son, but I think the big thing for him, obviously, was winning a trophy with Spurs, which he won the Europa League with them, obviously. That sign is fire. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Yeah, Heung-min Son, 33 years old, just freshly turned 33. I think the big part of it is how much he could potentially play for Tottenham moving forward probably has come a little bit into question. And then also, too, I think, going to LAFC, it's not exactly what I would say like the moves we've seen several players make to Saudi Arabia, but very similar coming over the States. And, we all know he's going to make probably a ton of money. Brongus just said in the chat, I think it's good he's leaving Spurs right now. I completely agree, dude. I think it's a really, really good time for him. He's going out on a high after winning a trophy with Spurs. No disrespect if we have any Spurs fans in the chat, but how often are Spurs going to win a trophy? So him coming off winning Europa League with the club, which obviously we all know a goal of his was to win a trophy with Spurs. He completed that. And I think it's a good time to go out on a high, especially when maybe, what's going on, Hannah? David's GF is with them. I think it's a good time for Spurs to Spurs and Son to part ways. Going to the MLS obviously is a step down in competition. Even as someone who's American, I can admit that. I think it's a good time for him to go. I don't think he's going to be getting any opportunities to go to any big club in the future. So, and I think he'll probably have to fight for starting time even at Spurs at this point. He'll go to the MLS, live in Los Angeles, hopefully light it up. I'm happy to see him coming to America. I guess that's really all I had to say about the Heung-min Son situation. The big thing that we all know, the purpose of why I wanted to get on here and stream, the main topic is the Alexander-Isak situation. If you follow my Ashley said MLS is a good step before retirement. I agree. Go make some more money. He'll do well. The Alexander-Isak situation. If you follow me, you watch my streams, which I know a couple of you obviously do. I'm damn near getting sick and tired of having to talk about the Isak situation. I want it to be complete. I know, obviously, as a Liverpool fan, it's not really Liverpool's fault that the situation hasn't completely, got wrapped up. It's more of a Newcastle thing. I think that the way they've behaved is embarrassing. I think I've seen far too many Newcastle fans getting online and criticizing the likes of Liverpool and Alexander-Isak for him wanting to leave the club. But before I get into that in entirety, the newest report on the Alexander-Isak situation came from Fabrizio Romano, who said, this was 40 minutes ago, mind you, via Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Liverpool have never left talks for Alexander-Isak, and new bid can be submitted if Newcastle opens doors. It all depends, again, on Newcastle United's decision and position. If Newcastle get top striker, Liverpool will try again for Isak. Why I think that this is pathetic is that Newcastle are essentially just holding a player hostage. And again, the player that they're holding hostage at this point, from what we've seen from reports, is a player who has made it notable in the past season to the club that he planned on leaving after this season if they could not bring in good transfers in the summer transfer window and make improvements to the squad that will make them more competitive to win a Premier League. Let's be real. To a certain extent, that's unrealistic for Newcastle just in one summer transfer window to make changes that are going to push them towards challenging for a Premier League. We all know this, but had they made some moves and actually been successful in some capacity with transfers, I think there may have been a little bit more of a dialogue that Isak wanted to stay at Newcastle. Nope, he wants to go to Liverpool. We've known now for quite some time that he wanted to go to Liverpool. But currently they're holding him hostage until they get a new striker to replace him. God AEM just said below in the chat, what's going on, man? Hope you're having a good day. We will get Isak next week once Newcastle secures Sesko. I agree. The problem with that whole situation is Manchester United have entered into the Sesko race. Now, obviously, United have been a complete and utter dumpster fire, and when it comes to the creme de la creme of footballers, they're not going to pick Manchester United over other top clubs. But when you have Manchester United against Newcastle, it becomes a little bit more attractive to potentially go to Manchester United and be a key role player in a potential rebuild of the club. And I think that that is the issue that we're now seeing with the Benjamin Sesko situation. It seemed as though Newcastle were the front runners to bring in Sesko. Then obviously we see Manchester United enter the race, and while, like I said, they've been a dumpster fire, it's resulted in Sesko's head being turned a little bit. Because while he might have Champions League football this season with Newcastle United, it's not guaranteed for next year. It's not guaranteed at either club, but at least you have the notoriety of potentially playing for Manchester United. On top of that, and I've said this with the likes of both Cunha and Mbomo too, who have gone to United, if you go into that club and you immediately make an impact and you do well at United, those players, or those fans rather, are 110% going to get behind you, because United fans are sick and tired at this point. They feel as though the club that they love and have supported has gone down the tubes. So any improvement, any player that comes in and turns that around and trends upwards, you could definitely see that the United fans backing them and getting behind them. Yes, sir, said Sesko on crack if he chooses United. Look, they can't even afford him. Is he stupid? I hope he doesn't go to United, yes, sir. I completely agree, and I hope he doesn't go to United, especially when it comes down to the fact that United, while I'm sure that they just want Sesko in general, I think that they also, let's not be stupid, because Newcastle have made it public that the Isak deal to Liverpool is predicated on them bringing in another striker. United are going to look at it and be like, we can hijack this deal for a striker and then Liverpool are potentially not going to be able to get their target because Newcastle are holding out on any deal until they bring in a new forward. So there is obviously the need for United to bring in a striker, but then also, too, the fact that they could potentially sabotage a future deal for their biggest rival. I think that that's what they're looking at. God AEM said, you forget, Sesko plays for Red Bull. Guess who's running things for them and is the top dog? Jurgen Klopp. He would make sure Sesko don't go to United to help us out. I've seen a lot of reports on that. God AEM. I wonder how much of... obviously, look, Jurgen Klopp has a big impact in just world football in general. If you're a young player playing at a team like Leipzig, obviously a former manager of the caliber of Jurgen Klopp comes and talks to you, you're going to listen, you're going to take his input. But we all know that, and Sesko's no fool either, if Jurgen Klopp comes in and nudges him and is like, I think you should go to Newcastle, Sesko's, I think, will be like, I understand, to his former club. And it's detrimental to his former club's biggest rival. So, I wonder how big... Obviously, I just think in general, if Klopp comes and talks to you, you're gonna listen. But I wonder how much of an impact that will have. David said, I heard Klopp told Sesko to avoid joining Man United. I don't know if that was true or not. It could be true. It definitely could be true. And it might not be that black and white in the sense that he just told Sesko. It might be a little bit more of a subliminal, subtle, tap on the shoulder to say, hey, I think you should go to Newcastle, not United. Look how bad United have done over the past number of seasons. But if that is the truth, I full-fledged believe that my audio's going in and out. Oh, no. Can you guys let me know if it's still going in and out? That's a pain. I do believe that if there's a situation to where Jurgen Klopp is giving that shoulder nudge to Sesko, I think Sesko can probably see the underlying reasons for why Klopp would be doing that, to be honest with you. I fully believe Sesko is no dummy. He would understand that Klopp might have a little bit of a underlining reason for why he would want to have input into it. For me, the audio is fine. Okay, cool. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the entire thing goes. But yeah. God AEM said Sesko not going to United won't just be helping us out, but won't equally be better choice for Sesko's career. Every player that joins United ruins their careers. Look at Sancho. Yeah, but I think the moves that Ruben Amorim has made in this offseason has been pretty good, man. I can't lie. I don't think United are going to be challenging for top four. I don't think they're going to be challenging for the Premier League. But I think when I look at them, guys, I got to be honest with you. I think they're in a little bit of a rebuild. I do. I really honestly and truthfully do. I think they're in a little bit of a rebuild. I like the Mbomo and the Cunha transfers. And then look, if you play Cunha and Mbuemo off of two wings and then you bring in Sesko, yeah, United have been bad over the past number of seasons, but it's not. If you're Sesko, you're going to be involved in a rebuild that doesn't even involve the poor form or the poor players that have played previously. You're just it's going to be a completely different front three. So I don't know. I think I definitely think it's interesting. Let's be real. United need a forward. Newcastle need a forward. United going in for the forward that Newcastle want clearly negatively impacts Liverpool, which ultimately is going to result in them, wanting to go in for Sesko more than they already would have, because it's just going to result in Liverpool not being able to bring in their main target. It's just, we're rivals, it is what it is. I think the way Bronga said, I don't think Sesko will really work at United, to be honest. He may not. He may not. I mean, we've seen how many players not work at United. And there is that aspect of it, too, that it's like, look how many players of good, even good quality, went to United and it hasn't worked out. We saw Di Maria is a big one that comes to mind, that we know Di Maria is a quality player, but when he went there, it didn't work out. I think, and then ultimately, if you're Sesko and you go to Newcastle, you're going to start right away, pretty much. I think that would probably be the same with United, but Newcastle have no alternative options. Whereas, at the very least, United have Højlund, Xerxes, who are not good. But if you start going on a bad run of form, if you're Sesko, you do have two guys who are going to then come in, obviously, and potentially try to take your spot as well. So it's gonna be really, really interesting. So I don't know. I think just that's kind of the United aspect of it with the Sesko deal, but I'll be real. I think the way Newcastle have handled this entire situation is a complete embarrassment. I've seen a whole bunch of people. Number one, the most annoying part of this is these Newcastle supporters coming out and saying that, Liverpool fans criticized the whole Trent situation and are now urging Isak to make a similar move. It's a complete for anyone to look at the Alexander-Isak situation and the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation and compare the two and think that those are actually the same exact thing. You need to get your head checked. You're off your top because it's completely different. We're talking about a homegrown talent versus a guy that came to your club like 2 or 3 years ago. So it's not the same thing. It's completely different. And what people don't understand, and this goes back to, when the Liverpool fans got criticized for booing Trent. What a lot of people don't understand is how often we would go to bat for Trent and have his back in situations that he would put in a stinker of a performance, and we would give him the benefit of the doubt for him then to stab the club in the back in the end. I don't think that Alexander-Isak has ever paraded his ass around and acted as though Trent was, pretending to be some sort of local hero that Trent did. It's ridiculous. We all know that what's going on with the Alexander-Isak situation. He's a player who's a top player, and at the end of the day, the drop-off from Liverpool to Newcastle is a far bigger drop-off than Liverpool to Real Madrid. Trent Alexander-Arnold won every trophy there was to win in his domestic club career with Liverpool. Alexander-Isak helped Newcastle win a Carabao Cup, and they paraded around. Their fans paraded around like they won the World Cup, for God's sakes, or the Champions League final after they won that, because they can't ever win any sort of trophy ever. So, and for me, it's one of the most annoying things, and it's ludicrous for anyone to actually see what's going on with Alexander-Isak and criticize us and say it's similar to the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation. Give me a freaking break. Honestly and truthfully, give me a break. It's bullshit, is what it is. It's bullshit. They know that player does not want to play at the club anymore. He has a personal agreement already in place with Liverpool Football Club. You're being offered 120 million for him. If that's not good enough, you say that's not good enough. If it's not that, well, we're not going to make the deal until we find a replacement for him, and you can't find a replacement for him because you're a dead club. Give me a break. Give me, literally, it baffles me. And people will say this. I've never even seen this before. I actually cannot think of a transfer situation where we have had a club say, we know this player doesn't want to be here anymore. We ultimately know that he's going to leave the club. But what are we going to do? We're going to hold off on the deal going through until until we can find a replacement for him. And we've had 7,000 different deals fall through so far this transfer window where we can't bring in a new player, can't bring in not even a replacement for Isak. They had the Emblemo deal fell through. The Ekatike deal fell through. Actually, I don't even want to say the Ekatike deal fell through. We stormed in there and we took him from you. We took him from you. And that is why Newcastle as a club are parading around and embarrassing themselves, because they're upset that they had a target and we went in and said, no, we're going to take him. And then also, too, your starting forward, he's coming with us as well. Because they knew what the whole situation was. They knew if Isak wasn't available that we were going to go for Ekatike. Then they decided we're still going to keep Isak and we're going to go for Ekatike, which is your target too. We are a big club. You are a small club. This is how this works. Not the smallest club in the world, but you're smaller than us. We stormed in and we took Ekatike from you, and now you're taking your ball and going home because your best player wants to come play for us. He wants to win the Premier League, he wants to win the Champions League, and he can't do that at your club because you don't have the pull that we have. That just is what it is. And it's pissing me off that you're halting a player's career currently because you're mad that this. And granted, the only argument I can take from Newcastle fans, which I sort of understand, is the fact that they have rich owners and they can't spend money. And I understand that because previously Manchester City were able to get away with it. And they're not able to get away with essentially the same thing that City was able to get away with for years at one point. So I do understand that. And Jerry said, "Hi Limo, how are you? Newcastle United should let Isak go to Liverpool for £150 million to Liverpool, and Benjamin Sesko doing his medical on the way for a medical at Newcastle right now." And Jerry, yeah, all of that I don't disagree with, man. I gotta be honest with you. Yeah, I definitely think they should let him go for if we're gonna bid 150, definitely. And I've seen people say online, because we initially bid 120, and they're saying 120 isn't good enough for him. Jack Grealish went for 100 million. Yeah, well, just because Manchester City overpaid for Jack Grealish years ago doesn't mean that we have to overpay for Alexander-Isak. I don't understand how those two things are in line. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. You know, you're getting 120 million pounds offered for you for a player. You bitch and moan all the time about how you can't spend money because of PSR purposes. So now we're offering you 120 million. You don't even have to spend that. You can bank that, use it for another transfer window if you really wanted to. But no, you have to complain. You have to bitch and moan. That's what they've been doing this entire time. Completely complaining. It's bullshit. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I want your opinions on it as well. If you're in the chat, don't forget to subscribe, like the video as well. I'm really interested in what you guys think on this topic. If you have other topics that you want to talk about, feel free to share it. I'm okay with pivoting away from this. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the chat, in the comments. But I am getting a little sick and tired of how Newcastle have been behaving through this entire saga. It's bullshit. And I've never seen... guys, I've watched football my entire life. I've never seen a situation where a player wants to go and they're just not allowed to. They're just, no, you can't go. What? How does that make any sense? It doesn't. We all know it doesn't. And this is coming from someone who watched Fernando Torres go to Chelsea. I saw that happen. We didn't prevent and that was in the middle of the winter transfer window. It wasn't even the summer transfer window. I watched it happen. We didn't halt that because we had to find a replacement. Yeah, so, I don't get it. We will have to see. I honestly and truthfully, I think Newcastle have embarrassed themselves here. Hopefully, I hope Seska... It's at the point where I'm hoping a player signs with Newcastle at this point. It's ridiculous. It's insane. What do I think of the new kits? I love them. I love the red one. Obviously, the big thing is that it's definitely a little reminiscent of our previous kits that we've had in the past. Um, in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Um, I think I like the red one. I'm not crazy over the away kit, just being honest with you. And I actually like the colorway of the away kit. What I don't love about it is I don't necessarily love the badge. How they have the liver bird, and then they have it around. Look, I might be in the minority here, but I prefer the old Liverpool badge that I grew up watching, the full crest, versus just the liver bird. But for me, if you're just going to do the liver bird, just do that. Don't put the crest around it, because then it looks like kind of a knockoff version of what we saw in the 2000s and 2010s. But ultimately, it's nice. I really like the red one. I think I'll probably get the red one this upcoming season. But we'll have to see. I've thought about one day either on stream or make a YouTube video kind of going over the collection of kits that I've had. Because I've obviously been a Liverpool fan my whole life, and in doing so, I've collected a ton of kits. I've done it over on TikTok before, where there was one guy who tried to actually say I was a Liverpool fan for like two years or something like that. So I decided to pull out my kits, show every single one that I have, and obviously the ones that I've had since I've been a child, because I think the fact that you can call me a lot of things, but you can't tell me that I'm not a lifelong Liverpool fan. You can call me a lot of things. You can't call me that. At the very maybe not I didn't come out of birth, but I at the very least supported the club as a child, for God's sakes. Some of my most prized possessions are some of my Liverpool jerseys that I've had for some years. What other topics do we have? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Well, Ashley said would love to see our collection. Yeah, maybe I'll do it towards the end of this stream, or maybe I might make a YouTube video about it, because I don't have them on. They're in my closet back there. I could go grab them, but I don't know if I'd have every single one, and we'll have to see. Maybe I'll do it towards the end of the stream, just kind of as a last thing. If there's anyone still I can see there's still a few of you along with us watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments or in the chat. If there's any other big pressing topics that you want to talk about. The Alexander-Isak situation at this point, I think has been beat to death. I still think Liverpool need to bring in a center back, and we haven't. So, while we have this whole situation going on with Isak, it's also, I have to take a step back, because it just dominates all Liverpool talk, except for the fact that, like Ashley said, the new kits got dropped. Other than that, the Isak situation dominates it, and it's like we're having all this stress about bringing in this striker, and we don't even need a striker. We need a center back. That's the most important thing. Got EM Sim. I'm waiting for the third kit to be released before getting a kit, just in case the one is nicer than the two that's out now. I also want an Allison kit, but not feeling the green, so wait for one next year. I hear you, man. Yeah, have you seen the leaks that they've had of the third alternate? It kind of has not like a mint color, but more of like a spearmint kind of green color to it. There's been leaks of the kits. They look really, really nice. They look really, really nice. I don't know if because the big thing is with these new, with the home and away, is obviously the fact that we have our long sleeve options as well. Let me see. I see a couple of them in there. Should I go grab them? Yeah, I might go grab some of the kits that I have here just to show them off on stream. Why not? Let me know in the comments too. Give me a couple ideas while I grab these things from my closet real quick. Yeah. Thank you. That's tight. All right. So I have a ton of them, and as I was getting them out of my closet, my wife actually just knocked and brought a bunch of them down. So I guess I'll start with some. I'll start with non-Liverpool ones that I have, and then I'll get into my Liverpool kits. Okay. So this one, obviously an Ireland home jersey. Yeah, as I'm sure you guys know, if you could not tell from my voice, I am American, but I am of Irish descent. So want to show off that one first. Thoughts on Thomas Frank's job so far? In my opinion, Tottenham getting top 4. Kudus, Polina, he's making crazy signings for them. Yeah, Son leaving is going to be a big loss for them just for the overall morale. I think they're going to... So I put out, if you haven't seen it, got AEM. I put out a video yesterday giving my full predictions for the Premier League season. I had Spurs at 6th. I think that they'll probably get around that 5th or 6th mark. But yeah, I threw them in at 6. I could also see them potentially going higher, pushing top 4. I think when it comes to the top 4, though, it's going to be so competitive. I think Liverpool, Arsenal, City, and Chelsea are just going to be so hard to break through that when you have a team like Spurs, Newcastle, the likes of them, it's going to be difficult for them. All right, I have a couple Celtic jerseys here as well. Got this bad boy. I have no idea when this one is from, to be honest with you. Let me see if it says. No, I got this when I was a kid too. So I have that. All of my jerseys that I have, I would say, like 90% of them are Liverpool jerseys, but I have like 1 or 2 Ireland ones, and then some Celtic ones as well. So I have this Celtic one. It's from a couple 2 years ago or something like that. Oh, this is what it looks like. Not bad. I like this one. I like to chuck this one on during St. Paddy's Day. And then I think that is all I have for non-Liverpool jerseys. So, I have one more. So this Celtic jersey that I have, I got in Glasgow. I went to Glasgow when I was 13 years old. So, got this bad boy. Yeah, it don't really fit me anymore, but the thing that's kind of nice is a lot of my jerseys that don't really fit anymore, I will give to my wife if we're like... So, like, for instance, that one I'll wear... The one I showed previously, I'll wear on St. Paddy's. I might give her this for St. Paddy's or something like that. But a lot of my like Liverpool jerseys from when I was like a kid, they fit my wife now. So we'll go out and I'm wearing like a newer one, but she's like dripped out in like a 2007 Liverpool kit. And I'm like, I wish that still fit me. But I'm not a child anymore. I'll go through some of my favorite jerseys. Or, I'll start at some of my least favorite and then move my way up. So this one, probably one of my least favorite Liverpool kits. I have Torres on the back of it. Not really because Torres is on the back of it. Just because sort of a weird color. The black and yellow. I don't really understand. I don't really love it. This one's from around the 2000. I think it's a 2009. 2010 season is when this kit's from. Kind of a pretty cool one. I wouldn't wear this. It's almost more cool just because of, like, I guess nostalgic. I don't actually like how the jersey looks, per se. But I obviously am going to keep it. Okay, that's one of them. Would you ever rock a goalie kit? I would not, just because I never played as a goalkeeper. Keeping on, which one should I show next? I'll show this one next. This one is another one from around that same time. It's a just standard Liverpool kit, but it's got the checkers on the inside of it. And then got Torres on the back. So that's pretty sick. This one's okay. I remember this one I wore so much as a child for some reason. I wore it all the time. It's this kind of like dark gray Liverpool kit. No one on the back of it. Just a bare back of the shirt. So this one's pretty cool. I wore this one. It's not even like one of my like most favorite Liverpool kits, but like I wore this one a lot as a kid. I don't know. I think because it just didn't look like a jersey as much. So this one I like got from. There's a whole weird story along with this one, but I got this kit. Don't love it because it's a Warrior one, and then obviously I go by Limo on here. My first name is Liam. Limo is more of like a nickname, but it has my first name on the back, which I remember I got it and I remember being like pumped that I got that, and then I like turned it over and saw my first name on it, and I was like, who? Like, even if they put like my last name on it, I would have been like, that's tight, but because I was like probably around like 15, I probably would have worn it if my last name was on it. But I had my first name. I'm like, I can't wear this. Can't wear this. This one is a old Suarez jersey. Also a Warrior one. But it kind of got all messed up in the wash. Suarez on the back. Long sleeve, which was nice. Yeah. I forget where we were going. Ashley, my wife and I, Ashley said Carlsberg on the front. Always looks good. Yeah. You can thank Ashley in the chat. She wore this. And then we put it in the washer and it got all messed up. Alright, moving on. I will say, before I get into this, let me look at all of these. Yeah, I would say... So I definitely have a couple other ones. So I have like the gray one with the collar that we had a couple seasons ago. It was like a third alternate. That's not included here. But now we're getting into like some of my favorite Liverpool jerseys. So I'll start off. My buddy Richie, shout out to my boy Rich, got me this a year or two ago. Or, well, it would have been a year ago when he asked me to be one of his groomsmen in his wedding. It's our jersey from last season. I obviously love it. And we won the Prem in it. So that was sick. He gave it to me. We're going to see Liverpool play Arsenal in Philadelphia preseason last year. So almost a year ago. Actually, it was a year ago. I just saw like a Snapchat story of that. That it was like a year ago that we saw that game in Philadelphia. It was so sick. It was so sick. Sorry, I'm just updating the analytics of it. Okay. Next up, so this jersey's got a little bit of a cool story behind it. It's really, really beaten up now at this point. And it'll probably look familiar to a lot of you guys who saw the new kits. So my dad got me this jersey, and I would have been in like middle school or something like that. And he got it, and it was like super big on me. I probably would have been like a medium or something like that. And he got me like an adult large. It's a shabby Alonso kit. The Alonso is a little beat up on it because I wore this throughout college and stuff. Carlsberg on the front, and it has like the look without the collar. Obviously, we don't have the collar this season of the current season's kit. Yeah, I loved this jersey. I wore it to shit at that point, but yeah, I love that one. This one's pretty cool. It's a Sadio Mane home jersey from the 2021 season. This one's like obviously a little bit newer over the past couple of years. So thanks, God AM. I appreciate it, man. I'm assuming you're talking about the Alonso one. The Alonso one's sick. I'm saving my favorite Liverpool jersey for last. Saving best for last. This one is sick. It doesn't fit me anymore, but I wish it did. I have this like teal baby blue Liverpool jersey. Got this one, I forget what year. I would have to assume it was probably like 2010, 2011 or something, somewhere around that time. Yeah, this one was super sick too. I loved this one. It doesn't fit anymore because it's like a medium or something like that. It might be a large. It might just be like a little tight on me or some shit like that. Okay, I'll show this and then I'll show my top 3 Liverpool jerseys of all time. This one is Sadio Mane jersey from the year we won the Champions League. So the 2019 season, 2018-2019 season. I got 2 Mane jerseys. If you noticed, I don't have a Salah jersey. I do have a Firmino one. That one probably is upstairs or something like that. That one would have been in my top 4. But I don't. Those last jerseys that I've shown are probably my... I didn't rank them. Like, I just showed them. Probably, like, the earlier ones will like, are more on the side that I don't love as much. I don't wear them as much. Not including the Ireland or the Celtic jerseys. I have a kind of rule of thumb that I always try to do. I know that, like, it's become kind of a almost a fashion thing now. That, like, dudes will wear different jerseys and stuff like that. To each his own. I don't really care, but I won't. The only teams I'll wear their jerseys are the U.S. men's national team, which I don't have one. If I had one, I would wear that because it's my own country. Ireland, because my family is Irish. Celtic and Liverpool. I won't wear any other football jerseys. That's just like kind of my rule of thumb. Yeah. Have I before when I was a kid? Yes, definitely. But, like, now as an adult, no. So these are my top 3 favorite Liverpool jerseys of all time. That I own. 4th would have been the Firmino jersey from a couple years ago. But coming in at number 3rd, I don't wear this anymore. It's small on me. I had this jersey probably in, like, 6th, 7th grade. I love this kit. It is a yellow Liverpool jersey. I believe from the 2008 season. Who's on the back? Gotta be him. Steven Gerrard. Yeah, God AM said I would only wear Liverpool and Jamaica kits. Yeah, I hear you. I'm kind of, yeah, I understand that, man. I have a similar sort of principle. Yeah, so this is a small men's jersey. So I don't fit in this anymore. I give it to my wife all the time. This one, I wore this jersey in like late elementary school, early middle school. I wore this jersey so much. So much. I loved that jersey. Yeah, and like a little bit of a background on like all these kits that I have. So kind of like a real big shout out to my dad. Like nowadays, you can obviously order whatever jersey you want online and stuff like that. But back in the day when I was growing up, like you couldn't do that. And in the U.S., like you didn't get jerseys like just here, there, and everywhere. They weren't selling Premier League kits in Dick's Sporting Goods. So my dad, when he would come home, like for Christmas and birthdays and stuff, would always like whether I assume if he was working like an hour away or something like that, he would stop in there. But he would go to a football store in North New Jersey and would like he would travel to go get me a Liverpool jersey. So a lot of them have like a very like sentimental kind of part on that because like my dad would like kind of go out of his way a lot to get me those. So shout out to Pops. Shout out to my mom too. I'm sure my mom would have like been involved as well, but like Well, I'm a Liverpool fan because my dad is. So my dad was definitely deciding like what jerseys I was gonna get. It was typically, honestly, growing up, just Gerrard and Torres, as I'm sure you guys have seen. Like, I got like 2 Torres jerseys. There's a couple Liverpool ones, but for the most part, they were my dad. This next one, though, my second favorite Liverpool jersey of all time, was not bought by my dad. My wife got me this a couple years back. Found it online. A lot of the ones I've shown I don't wear anymore. This one I wear all the time, so I'm going to stand up for this one. So this is a retro Liverpool kit. And if you want to know how retro it is, you just have to look on the back of it. It was before Gerrard became 8. He was young. He was number 17 at the time. Not his first season. His first season with Liverpool, Gerrard was 28. Then he went to 17. Then obviously he went to 8. This is my second favorite Liverpool jersey of all time. If I go out to watch a Liverpool jersey or anything like that, this is the jersey I wear. Sounds like a great father. Yeah, my dad's the man. But my wife got me this one. She's a great wife as well. She found this online years ago now at this point. It was so sick. I remember when she got it for me. I was so pumped. And I wear it all the time. And I get a lot of people will stop me and be like, that is sick. And I was like, yeah, I found it online. Now, my favorite Liverpool jersey of all time. This one is this is my first Liverpool jersey. I got this, many years ago. It's one of my most prized possessions. It is very, very small. I don't know if you guys could see, like, comparatively. It's like very, very tiny. And it's got Gerrard on the back. If you guys are a Liverpool fan, it's got the Champions League crest as well. For all you guys that are Liverpool fans, this is the kit from the 04-05 Champions League win. It's my favorite jersey of all time. It obviously doesn't even fit me anymore. It's so small from when I was young. It doesn't even fit my wife. To be honest, she might be able to squeeze into it, honestly, but it's like from when I was like 7 years old, so it's very, very small. Definitely my favorite one of all time. Yeah, I love it. And you guys will have to let me know if you guys have any favorite Liverpool jerseys. You'll have to let me know down below in the chat. But that is probably like 95% of my Liverpool jersey collection. There's a couple other ones that I'm probably missing out of there and stuff. But yeah, that one was sick. I really that one's my, like I said, probably my like most prized possession. Also got from my dad too. But if there's any other, I see there's like 15, 20 people joining us. If there's any footballing topics you want me to discuss, let me know in the chat. I'm always down to cover anything you guys want me to talk about. Anything like that, of course, I'd love to get into it. I just thought that was like kind of a cool one to get into just because I have them. Kind of a cool thing to show you guys. But yeah, let me know what else you'd like me to talk about. What other topics, anything like that. Could be Liverpool related. It could be football related. It doesn't even have to be football related. If you have any like random questions, I'll ask them, answer them as well. Anything you guys want to talk about, anything football related. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Newcastle. Even though I'm sick and tired of Newcastle. Anything you want to hear me cover, I will cover right now, ladies and gentlemen. Also, if you're watching along with us, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell as well. Like this video. I'm putting out like damn near daily footballing content at this point. I usually like to stream around 2 to 3 times a week and make a video 1 to 2 times a week. What do you think about Arsenal this year? I think they'll finish 4th. I think they're going to be garbage. Not garbage. Garbage to their standards. I do think that they'll win a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, but I don't think that they'll come in second. I don't think that they'll challenge for the league. I think Arsenal fans recently, not all of them, but many of them have almost entered into a particular state of delusion, thinking that they'll still challenge for the Prem this season. I don't see it personally. And that's not to hate on Arsenal, man. I try my best to give unbiased opinions to everyone, or to every team rather. But at a certain point, with Arsenal, the fans get upset when I cover them and I don't just riddle off just positive shit about them all the time. That's because, unfortunately, I don't think that they've been positive in the transfer market this season. I think they've been, frankly, pretty negative. I think it's been pretty bad from Arsenal. Let's go through their signings. Kepa Arrizabalaga for $5 million as the backup goalkeeper. Who cares about that, right? On top of that, you have brought in Gyökeres for about 62 some odd million. Gyökeres, in my opinion, is not a proven entity in the Premier League. He's done well in Portugal. He appears to be a good player, but unfortunately, Gyökeres is 27 years old. So it's not even like you have a player that you're bringing in 24, 25, and it's like give them a year or two to get their feet under them and really start to have opportunities and get the experience to get better. What you have from Arsenal is you have a 27-year-old who essentially has to hit the ground running. And you have not brought in any other options as a forward for Arsenal. You're just going to go with Gabriel Jesus, Havertz can play as a forward, Gyökeres, and then if you have to chuck Mikel Merino in up top, you can do that as well. I don't think that that's good enough. I don't think that that's going to win you a Premier League. Now, granted, on top of that, Gyökeres could come in and light the world on fire. Gyökeres could come in and Arsenal could win the league just based on the fact that they got their man, they got their striker, and they're winning trophies based off of that. So I could be wrong, but you're putting all your eggs into one basket, I feel like. It's just all of the potential that you could have is going to be predicated on the Gyökeres signing. Also, too, Noni Madueke. Arsenal go out and sign another right winger for, what was it, 50, 60 million? And now, I think that the Noni Madueke situation has gotten a little bit of negative press, and people have just used it as an opportunity to just, frankly, talk shit about him. But I think that when it comes down to Noni Madueke, he's a very good player, not worth the amount of money that they make, and that he's been paid. And most importantly, Madueke is traditionally played as a right winger, and Arsenal have one of the best right wingers in the world, in Bukayo Saka. So then you're going to play him off the left. Sure. Okay, he could potentially play off of the left, but we haven't seen him. Also, Madueke's coming from Chelsea, who in the past last season, he had, I believe, 7 goals for Chelsea, 3 of which came in a hat-trick performance against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who were just above the relegation zone. So, once again, when I look at Gyökeres and I look at Madueke, there's 2 players there who the potential could be really high for them. The ceiling could be huge for both Madueke and Gyökeres. But unfortunately, we don't have the basis that we've seen from them to guarantee what Arsenal need. And that's what I look at. And I think Zubimendi, a little similar, but I think that the Zubimendi deal, there's more confidence around the Arsenal fan base that he will, and just world football fans like myself, there's more confidence around the Zubimendi deal that it'll work in Arsenal's favor. But, still, we don't know that for certain. So we'll have to wait and see, the full scope of how Arsenal will do. I know we talked about it on a stream a couple days ago. I kind of gave my thoughts about it as well, but you'll have to let me know what you guys think too. I just haven't been impressed with Arsenal in the transfer window. Part of the transfer window, granted, Mikel Arteta could make someone like me look stupid by these players all go out and they're fantastic this season. Gyökeres could turn into the next coming of Thierry Henry. Madueke could play great off the left, and you have a beautiful front three of Saka on the right, Madueke on the left, and Gyökeres down the middle, and they're scoring goals like it's nobody's business. But unfortunately, we can't be guaranteed that that's going to be what's going to happen with them. Now, one deal that's been kind of looming around Arsenal is the potential for them to sign Eze. I think that would be a really, really good signing for Arsenal if they were to play Eze as an attacking midfielder. Because I could see Arsenal and Arteta signing Eze and being like, we're going to play Eze as a left winger. Play him as a 10. Odegaard is not the best option for Arsenal moving forward. They should look to, if they're going to sign Eze, they should look to play him as a number 10. Because that's where he plays best. But, guys, I see a bunch of you watching along with us. Don't forget to subscribe. Like the video as well so more people see it. I would really, really appreciate that. And let me know down in the chat if there's anything you guys want me to talk about. Really, really interested in what you guys have to say. Anything you want me to talk about. Any of your opinions. As always, it means the world to me. So if you guys have differing opinions to what I say, different topics that you want to talk about, let me know down below in the chat for sure. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts on Arsenal. I think I put out a video yesterday, predicting the Premier League table for the upcoming season. I put Arsenal in at 4th. Some people might say that's extremely harsh on Arsenal. I know it is. For sure, it's definitely a little harsh on Arsenal. But that's my honest opinion based on what I've seen from Arsenal. I think that they could finish 4th. I think this will be a bounce back year for Manchester City. I think Chelsea have impressed and made Chelsea. Obviously, Liverpool's signings this season have been the marquee signings. Chelsea have made some really, really, really good business moves in this offseason. They brought in Hato from Ajax. That's a great signing. João Pedro looks phenomenal for Chelsea thus far. And granted, the thing is a lot of these signings, like the Gyökeres one, for instance, I won't really give too much of an opinion on how I think Gyökeres is going to pan out for Arsenal because he hasn't played in any games of importance yet. It's just been preseason games. So I'm not going to, because people are saying the same thing about Ekitike, that he doesn't look great for Liverpool, but he's been playing in preseason games. So I won't judge those guys yet, but someone like João Pedro, who's played well in important games in the Club World Cup for Chelsea, I will give him the positive benefit of the doubt and to say that I think he's going to do well. Same thing with Liam Delap. I think Liam Delap did very well in the Club World Cup as well. A competition that people will scoff at when it comes down to Chelsea, that who really cares about the Club World Cup, which I get, but who really cares about the Club World Cup when everyone was writing off Chelsea had no chance of winning the Club World Cup. And then they go out and win, and you have to give them the benefit of the doubt that I was one of them. I was like, why is Chelsea even in this competition? Is Chelsea really the second best team coming out of England? I didn't think so. And they won the competition. So they proved even someone like me wrong. The problem that I have is the people that, like me, were criticizing Chelsea in this capacity, and then also on top of that, won't give them the benefit of the doubt when they've done well in the tournament. Those are the issues that I have. Can't have your cake and eat it too when it comes down to these teams. If they did well, they did well. If they didn't do well, well, they didn't do well. But we can't say they're going to do shit, and then when they win the whole damn tournament, retroactively go back and be like, the tournament doesn't matter. That's not the appropriate way to handle that, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But I think Chelsea have done well in the transfer window. Arsenal, I don't think have. Liverpool, I think, have done well, but they've spent a lot of money. I think that as a Liverpool fan, right, and if I'm to unbiasedly talk about our club and how our club has done in the transfer window this season, I think we've done well. I think, like I said, a lot of our signings have been marquee signings. But when it comes down to it, we have to look at this logically and say Liverpool have made these signings. But what's the potential that we're actually going to make signings next transfer window to a similar capacity? I don't think we are. I think we didn't make any signings last transfer window. I think we've won the Premier League after not making any signings, and I think that they've decided, okay, we're going to give Arne Slot a chance to really run away with the checkbook here and make whatever signings he wants, and he's doing that. If it doesn't work out, I think that that's going to have a negative impact on Liverpool, but I do anticipate us doing well this year. I think we're the odds-on favorites to win the Prem, and I would expect us doing well in other competitions, potentially winning another trophy too. Those are my expectations for Liverpool. If we're going to spend all this money bringing these players that we thought were important to us, that's my opinion. But you guys will have to let me know what you think down below in the chat. Do you have the same expectations and the same thought process when it comes to Liverpool, or do you think something different? You'll have to let me know down below in the chat. And you'll have to let me know if you agree or disagree with the things that I've said when it comes to the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal as well. What do I think about the World Cup coming to the U.S.? I just hope the U.S. doesn't embarrass themselves, personally. I hope we do well in our home country. I'm sure Canada and Mexico kind of have the same thought process as well. I think that the unfortunate reality about the World Cup in the U.S. is it didn't look great this last year with the Copa America being here and then the Club World Cup being here this season. There were a lot of games that got canceled, a lot of issues that happened because of that. But ultimately, I'm excited for the World Cup to be in America. The last time, I believe, was US 94, and I was born in 96, so... and I'm in unk status at this point, as some of the kids on TikTok like to call me. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to experience that because there's a bunch of people like myself who haven't had the chance to experience it, and the people that have are the old heads and maybe weren't even interested in football in 1994 anyway, because we know the sport's obviously grown a ton. But if you guys don't have any more questions or comments or anything like that, I'll probably end the stream. But obviously, of course, I'll keep going as long as anyone has any questions, as long as it isn't Ashley. Love you, Ash. If you guys have any questions, any topics that you want me to cover before the end of the stream, let me know down below in the chat, of course. I'll cover them before I end the stream. But if we don't have anything else, I'll let you guys go for the rest of your day. So please let me know down below. Also, if you're watching along, please make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, like the video. I really, really do appreciate it. Also, if you haven't yet, anyone in the chat, please make sure to go watch my newest video that I just published late last night, where I predicted the Premier League table for the upcoming season. But if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, for sure, let me know. For sure. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for whoever liked. I can't see who it is. I don't know if this is a thing, but I always see like the hearts fly up when someone likes the video, and it's like, I don't know who that is, but I appreciate it. Someone just chucked out a couple hundreds. Why is Newcastle embarrassing? So I Steven, I talked about it a little bit earlier. I kind of went on a whole spiel about it a little bit earlier on the stream. But I'll take a sip of water and I'll give you my spiel for why I think Newcastle's embarrassing. And it 100% goes around the entire Alexander-Isak situation. Number one, I think the way that they are holding a player 110% hostage at this point is embarrassing. I've seen a lot of people say that Newcastle were shocked about Alexander-Isak leaving the club, and then there's been other reports saying he told Newcastle this previous season that he would intend to leave the club if they did not make any moves that would propel them towards competing for a Premier League title. On top of that, he's apparently agreed personal terms with Liverpool, and Liverpool want to buy him. They put out £120 million offer into Newcastle to buy the player. If that amount of money is not adequate for Newcastle, they should reject the bid and say, we want more money for Alexander-Isak. I think it's within reason for Newcastle to say, we want £150 million for Alexander-Isak. I think that that's a ton of money, but to a certain extent, that's, completely within the realm of what they can do. But the issue that I have is Newcastle is embarrassing themselves by saying they won't let a player go until they find his replacement retroactively. I think that that's ridiculous. I've never seen a club, and I said this before, I watched Fernando Torres go to Chelsea. Liverpool didn't make sure to bring in a striker before they allowed the move for Fernando Torres to go to Chelsea. What's currently going on here is we have a club who knows that their best player is going to leave, and until they can find a replacement for him, they're not going to let him leave. And the problem that we're in right now is we do not know if their replacement for Alexander-Isak, who would be Benjamin Sesko, is even going to go to Newcastle, because there's been interest from the likes of Manchester United as well. So I think that that's why Newcastle as a club, I'm not saying Eddie Howe, I'm saying, obviously the front office who's conducting the negotiations of players is embarrassing themselves, because they're basically saying to if you were Benjamin Sesko, if you've seen how they've handled the Alexander-Isak situation, why would you want to go to Newcastle? When you know that this club, if you get interest from a bigger club, let's say a Manchester City and Arsenal, potentially 3 years down the road, that they will block you from going there and block the transfer from occurring because they need to find a replacement for you, when they've already had several players turn down a proposition for coming to the club through this transfer window. So that's why I think that they've embarrassed themselves, because they're not allowing the move to happen, even though Liverpool want the move to happen and Alexander-Isak does. If the principle of them not allowing the move to occur was based strictly on the finances, I can completely understand that. That's well within their ability to do that, and I have no issue. But blocking a move from occurring because you don't want you have not found a replacement for that player, I think is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous, because they could sell him, they'll make the money, and then obviously they could still make the move. But the problem is they're worried that they're not going to be able to make the move, even though it's still August 2nd, mind you, the beginning of August. They still have a whole month of a transfer window to make moves as they wish, but they're not doing it. They're just holding a player hostage. That's essentially why I think Newcastle is embarrassing. And I don't mean that for the Geordie fans out there. I don't even mean that for Eddie Howe. I mean that for the owners and the people that are in charge of making these deals happen and making things shake there. That's my opinion. I think, and people can tell me that I'm biased because I'm a Liverpool fan, that I feel this way. Of course, obviously, it impacts my team, but I don't. He's not being held hostage, and he has a contract to honor, and he never said those things. The seller holds the terms of any sale. Okay. Of course he has a contract to honor. We've seen these players time and time again get sold with years left on their contract. This happens every single season, every single transfer window, that a player with years left on their contract gets sold because the player wants to leave. So then the teams negotiate the value that they're going to do for the transfer. Liverpool, we all know Liverpool will pay £150 million upwards for Alexander-Isak, and if they want to charge that for him, they're well within their right. Saying he has 3 years left. All these players get put on these contracts and are transferred when personally they want to leave the club. We see it time and time again throughout each transfer window. Saying that is he has to say so you honestly, I'm assuming, Steven, that you are a Newcastle fan, and if you're not, put yourself in the shoes of a Newcastle fan who the club has had many issues of PSR over the past couple of years with very wealthy owners. Do you want him then to stay and you don't get any money for him? You want him to stay and not enjoy his time at Newcastle, not want to be there for the remaining 3 years of his contract, and then you want him to leave on a free? We all know what Newcastle actually want. They want £150 million for him, but they also want a replacement before they make the deal happen. And is it with and now again, do I think that that's well within their right to do? I absolutely do. As you said, he's on a contract, and until they agree a deal, Kono Yuta says selling Isak would be their best option. Really, completely agree, because they would be able to then use that money through the PSR issues that they've happened, because they can't spend money as it currently stands. But why they're embarrassing themselves is they are not behaving like a big club who can bring in top-notch talent. They're worried that they won't be able to bring in a quality replacement for him. And that is why they're refusing to sell him. Because if this was Arsenal, the club values him at a price, you want him to pay the price. The club hasn't valued at him a price. That's not what the club's doing. The club's valuing his position, and they can't replace his position because they don't have the pull to replace his position. If the reason they're not selling Alexander-Isak is strictly down to price, I have no issue with that. They can put whatever value on him that they want. That's their prerogative. But they're not doing that. They're refusing to even open any negotiations until they are able to find a replacement for him and secure the Sesko deal. That's what this is all predicated on. That's why it's embarrassing. They're not behaving like a big club, which Newcastle are trying to present themselves out as. Kono Yunez says the club barely negotiated. That's childish. They're not. They're refusing to negotiate. They're refusing to make a deal go because they don't have the pull to bring in a new forward. That's what this is all about, and that's why I'm calling it embarrassing. It's a club that over the past couple of years has made a lot of improvements, and it's always been a club that I really respect. A club with fans. The fans, they have completely encompass like almost a blue collar mentality. Plus, your club tapped him up. What does that even mean? Our club tapped him up. What we reached out and said we want to buy Alexander-Isak, or we made contact with the player that we wanted to buy him. So other clubs don't do that. But like this is the issue that I have is that Kono Yunus says if they sell Isak before buying Sesko, then Salzburg would milk them. That's a theory. That is 100% what it is. If they get 150 million for Alexander-Isak, they're going to then, when they go to do the Sesko deal, RB Leipzig is going to say, well, we want 90 million for him, and he's not worth that. Because that's what happens is when you make these big deals, that the clubs that when you go for future players, that they illegal approach. Liverpool contacted Newcastle about buying him. What are you talking about? What is illegal about that? What is illegal about that? And if that's illegal, every other Premier League club, every other top European club in world football is committing complete illegal acts, because we all know that they speak to these clubs and these players. Every single, and Newcastle 100% does it as well. Don't kid yourself. Every club does this. An illegal approach. Give me a break. Give me a break. The Newcastle United are afraid that they are not going to be able to bring in first of all, before I even get into this, Steven, you're the man, because this is what I like. I don't want someone coming on here and agreeing with everything I have to say. I want someone coming on here and disagreeing with what I have to say and cause discourse, that we can have some discourse. So I actually appreciate this, and all love, man. I don't want like this to sound like it's conflict or anything. But Newcastle United are afraid they don't have the pull to bring in Sesko or an alternative option as a striker, and that is why they are blocking the Newcastle deal. Newcastle United talk to players. Liverpool talk to players. Every club, we are all lying to ourselves if these clubs don't talk to players and don't make contact with them. We all know that's the case. We all know that's the case. Come on, Steven. You and I both know this. Kono Yunez says, it was only verbal, it can't be illegal. I bet Forest owner would have sued. That guy. Man, the Forest owner. Was that not the most weird thing in the world with the Morgan Gibbs White thing? Talk about someone looking like they were held hostage. But also, too, on top of that, they're paying him £150,000 a week. I mean, I don't think he's worth all that. Kono said, well, they got to be paranoid after being rejected dozens of times. I don't blame them, really. Yes, but if they shell out money for these players, they're gonna go to Newcastle. And also too, the rejections that they had, Ekitike, they got rejected by because Ekitike went to Liverpool. But Mbomo went to United. There are bigger clubs coming in for these players. I think Vissa is an option, obviously, for them. But if they're going to go for these players, they have to splash some cash, too. They have to splash some cash. But the thing is that they don't want to. They want to have their cake and eat it, too. The problem that I have with this whole Newcastle situation is, what's the goal here if this all falls through with Isak and Liverpool? Is he just going to play for Newcastle this upcoming season? Is that the goal for Newcastle? And their owner is that, all right, we're just going to hold off on this, and then, maybe at the end of the transfer window when nothing happens, then we could just be like, all right, well, you're going to probably play for us because it's a World Cup year, and you want your value to be high next season, so you might as well just play for us, and then we'll loop back to this in either the winter or the summer. Is that what we're looking to do here? I don't fully understand it, to be honest with you. I really don't. It makes no sense to me. No sense to me whatsoever. I really don't get it. And comment, subscribe, get in the chat, hit that notification bell as well so you know every time I make a new video. I think what do we got here? It says 27, 24 people joining us, so please subscribe, guys. I stream 3 times a week. I'm posting videos damn near every day. If you want this contact, if you want to come on here and tell me that you agree with me or you think my footballing takes are dumb, please let me know in the chat. And also subscribe so you can do this daily and weekly. Kono Nunez says he would get booed as well. It would be so awkward. It would be awkward. It would 110% be awkward. I completely agree, Kono. It doesn't make any sense. I don't see how this would be beneficial. I really don't. I really, really don't. I don't see how this entire situation is a benefit to Newcastle Football Club. And again, if this was all predicated on the fact that 120 million is not enough for Alexander-Isak, I get it. But that's not what this is based on. What this is based on is the fact that they can't confidently secure a replacement after selling him. And they would be able to. They would just probably have to overpay for a replacement. And they don't want to do that. And I get it to a certain extent. They hold all the cards in their hand, but it's a little embarrassing. I don't want to say it's dirty because they're just doing business as it stands. And it's not dirty, let's be real. But it definitely is embarrassing. I definitely don't think a big club would operate like this. I don't think Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, United would operate like this. Maybe United would because they're a joke. But come on. Give me a break. Newcastle's PRSR complaint transfer limit for summer 2025 appears to be 150 to 175 million in total market cost. Why aren't they paying up? They're not paying up because they want to get everything in a discount. It's just for me it's beginning to get a little bit ridiculous. I really don't understand it. I really don't. Kono, you make really, really good points, man. I haven't disagreed with a single thing that you've said. I don't know. Steven has left the chat. I appreciated the discourse with him, just going back and forth from someone arguing Newcastle's perspective. But yeah, I don't fully understand it. I really don't. Sorry, I just don't. I don't see big clubs operating like this. This has not been how football clubs have historically operated, that they won't sell play. And if this is the case, Kono Yunus says they only have themselves to blame for the rejections, laughing my ass off. It's, to be honest with you, the big issue I also think when it comes to Newcastle is they're not a historically big club. So going to Newcastle, granted, in the past 3 seasons they've qualified for Champions League twice, and that's great. But especially, you can't guarantee that every single year. We can't guarantee 5 teams will be in Champions League every single year, and there's a chance they're not a Big Six club, and they're not a Big Five club because there's also Tottenham involved in the Big Six clubs. But also, they're not a Big Five club in the sense, like, not including Tottenham in that. You know, Steven said, "Read my last comment. Illegal approach." We answered the illegal approach, and Kono even wrote in the chat, if it was only verbal, it can't be illegal. And also, too, on top of that, I referenced, if that's illegal, every single Premier League club conducts a legal business then, because every single Premier League club has verbal conversations with these players when they want to approach them for potentially coming to their club. So, well, we answered that. We spoke about the claim that it's an illegal approach. If it's an illegal approach, every single Premier League club and probably every single club in European football, conducts illegal business. Oh, man, I appreciate this. Ado LFC, great channel. Everyone relax. Isak will be a Liverpool player very soon. Isak told Newcastle he wants to leave. It's got very sour between the player and club. Point of no return. Aiden in Ireland here. My boy Aiden. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you supporting the channel, man. I love it, Aiden. I definitely think that the relationship is sour between player and club at this point, for sure. I completely agree. I appreciate your support for the channel. Anyone else that enjoys the channel, please make sure to subscribe, of course. The one after that. Steven, I don't know if it went through, man. I did not see a comment after a legal approach. That's the last comment I have. I have a legal approach, then you said read my last comment, or the one after that. So there may have been an issue, and I apologize on that. The situation reminds me so much of the Berbatov situation. Yeah, to a certain extent. I can see that. I can definitely see that for sure. For sure. Yeah, so I apologize, Steven, if you left another comment. I did not see it. I don't think it registered in the chat. It could be an issue on my end. Not 100% sure. Maybe there was a connectivity issue for some reason. I'm looking at it. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. It's not on my. I'm looking. I have my chat open on YouTube. I have it open in OBS. It's not there. If you want to copy and paste it, you could probably copy and paste it into the chat, and I'll give you my opinion or a conversation about it for sure. But God's honest, and it looks like both Ashley and Kono don't see it as well. So, see if you can copy and paste it. If you can, that'd be great. For sure. I do agree with what Aiden said. I do think that the relationship between the clubs have completely soured at this point. There's no return. I don't see a situation to where, Isak will play for Newcastle again, especially in the upcoming season. And if they don't get Sesko, I think they're just going to go for another striker, and then at that point, maybe it will delay the deal happening. But yeah. Steven, also, are you a Newcastle supporter, or are you just arguing on the defense of Newcastle? That it doesn't make a difference. Like, I actually like someone coming in and arguing against the Liverpool rhetoric, but I would be interested in if you actually are a Newcastle supporter, because I think our stream on Thursday there's a guy. I think it was what's his name? I think it was God AEM. We were talking about Arsenal. He was giving his opinion on Arsenal the entire time, and then towards the end of the stream, he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm a Liverpool fan." I was just the convo. Kono Yunez says there are reports that Isak even broke some friendships. That's a point of no return. Yeah, for sure. I'm a mag from Newcastle. There he is. So we got a Geordie in the chat. I like that. No, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate, you're giving us a little back and forth here, giving us a little bit of an alternative perspective. Yeah, I just don't. I believe this comes down the whole situation when it comes down to Isak and Newcastle and Liverpool is simple. In my opinion, I don't think it's very complicated. Newcastle are not going to let him leave until they have a replacement. It is less on the finances of the situation and more on their ability to actually get a adequate replacement for their best player. And they're afraid that they will sell him and won't be able to do that. And because of that, they're blocking the transfer happening now because they're afraid they'll have to pay a premium for the replacement. Whereas if they buy the replacement now, but the thing is like, the problem I have with it is if they're going to pay a premium after they sell Isak, they're probably going to pay a premium before as well because who's RB Leipzig is going to be like, we know that you're going to be getting 150 million after this signing because you're going to sign Sesko and then you're going to ship out Isak. So, man, we play you guys in the early part of the season. That's going to be fireworks depending on how this whole thing transpires. We need 2 center forwards. Are you going to run a 4-4-2? That was the rhetoric behind you guys going in for Ekitike too. Are you guys going to really run a 4-4-2? You don't need 2 center forwards. Oh, unless you're talking about you need a starter and a backup because you don't have an adequate backup. That I can see. Vissa is another option that I know you guys have been linked with, and I think that's, that's another thing that I've seen, and I'm not saying Steven said this, but I've seen some Newcastle fans criticize the fact that Isak is not training with Newcastle when one of their biggest targets is Vissa, and he's refused to train with Brentford because he wants to leave. It's the same thing. It's the same exact scenario. We have to rotation. Okay, all right. Hand up then, because I know that when it looked like you weren't selling Isak and then you were interested in Ekitike, there were some people that were saying, "Oh, we're gonna run a 4-4-2," and I was like, "No way, you're running a 4-4-2. You're gonna play Anthony Gordon as a left midfielder. You're definitely gonna run a 4-3-3 of some capacity." Yeah. Yeah, because you guys also lost what's his name, the English forward, Callum Wilson. Lost him as well this transfer window. All right, guys, I've been streaming for about an hour and a half. Give me your last. I'll answer 3 more questions or 3 more chats, and then I'm gonna hop off here for the day. I appreciate everyone who's joined. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. I really, really appreciate it. I doubt Isak didn't see that Isak is a pure rat banner on the Newcastle training grounds. Gatman Stav says it hasn't fallen through though. Bet he's doing a medical by the end of the week. Yeah, I don't think it's completely fallen through. I think I put that as the title to get people to click. It might have been a little bit of a clickbait. Gatman, I will be honest. It was a little bit of a clickbait, but I don't think it's fallen through. I think it's just gonna take a little bit more time than maybe was initially predicted. But all right, I got time for 1 or 2 more chats, and then I'm gonna hop off here. Like I said, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell. I do videos all throughout the week. I stream, like I said, 2 or 3 times a week. Fair one, you got me. I did get you, Gatman. I did get you. The other day on Thursday, I streamed, and the title of the stream was Mikel Arteta is an embarrassment. And then I joined in, and I was being like kind of, pretty complimentary towards him, but not as hard on. Gatman said, "Who's the center back we're getting?" If I was to guess, if I was to hope, I'd hope it would be Gehi. That would be my hope for our center back option. Kono said, hope Kloppo sways Sesko towards Newcastle. I do too. We were talking about that a little bit earlier in the chat. I think I think some. I'm not saying new Kono, but I think some Liverpool supporters have almost put too much of an emphasis on the likelihood that could happen. I don't think that Klopp has. I think Sesko could see that Klopp would potentially have an ulterior motive there. Gahey or that 18-year-old from Parma. Yeah, I think we need 2 center backs, so I'd like to see us bring in both. Because Joe Gomez gets injured. We've lost Kwanzaa as well to Leverkusen. And Konate could be out of the door at the end of the season, running his contract down, going to Madrid. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate all of you very, very much. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell, like this video. You guys are all the best. I really, really appreciate it. I do this weekly. I come on, so feel free to join in. Shout out to, I'll give a couple shout outs to some people that have joined us in the chat on this stream. Kona Nunez, Gatman Stab. Of course, we have the Geordie Steven. Appreciate you, Steven, for jumping in and actually giving us some juicy discourse back and forth. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to my boy, God AEM. Shout out to Adyeri, always joining us. Shout out to my boy, Brongus. I appreciate you for joining. Shout out to David. Shout out to Yes Sir. Shout out to everyone, man. I apologize if I didn't name anyone else who's been in the chat with us today. You guys are the best. I will see you all on the next stream, the next video, the next something. Peace.